Hello, my name is Upgrade Ninja or Schooly-Roo, whichever you may please, and today I'm going to review all of the artwork on my DeviantArt from 2019 to kick off the new year and to celebrate this year, even though this year was kind of crap for me. And I'm not going to actually review all of the artwork because guess what, I made a lot. I'm gonna not review pictures of my cats and stuff because I have a lot on there. I'm not going to review adoptables because I have a bit and that's just stupid to review something like that. And I'm not going to review free requests and stuff I haven't posted on my DeviantArt for obvious reasons because this video is already going to be long. And we don't really need useless filler like that, now do we? Now, first review! Here's the first artwork of 2019 posted on my DeviantArt, and I remember drawing it during New Year's Eve because I had nothing better to do. And the ears are too long, the rib cage is really weird, the shoulders are too broad, making it look like a guy when Scully's not, the torso is rather short, but other than that, I think the piece is aged really well, and I did put a lot of effort into it, and the shading is kind of smudgy, but, you know, I really like it, and I had it as my profile picture for a while, which I've changed up a bit now. But yeah, that's all I really have to say, so next artwork! Now here's some art I made mocking a tracer. Not much to say here except it did get in a Deviant cringe video, but so did that last one, so yeah. Anyway, next artwork. Ah yes, this one. I remember drawing it at a family party, and the fact that I didn't draw any lines separating the torso, the tail, makes it look like it's all one glob. And why does Scully only have 2 ribs? In almost all images of her, she has 3, maybe 4. And was before I decided I had to draw the teeth and the face segmented to make it look like she actually has a skull, not just a weird grinning face. And why is one ear absurdly longer than the other? This was a problem I usually had back then, and the fact that I had no idea how to place the ears on the head also did not help that problem. Anyway, next artwork, and yes, I'm gonna keep doing this the entire video. Ah yes, this artwork. I also remember drawing this during a family party. And yes, this is once again before I started drawing teeth on Scully, making her look like an actual skull. And I had no idea how to draw torsos from the side view. And the fact that I only decided to shade some parts of the body and on some characters does not help that fact. And I decided to try and color the line art to make it look like it has a little luminosity from the moon, like a little backlight, but it completely flopped, you know, from the shading, and it makes it look kind of blotchy. Also, what are those hands? Literally, what are those hands? Anyway, let's get this atrocity out of my face, and next artwork. Ah yes, a piece of artwork that I did not draw during a special event. That still does not make it less of a hot dumpster fire than the rest of my artwork though. Look at it, it has pillow shading all over due to lack of a defined light source. The perspectives of how the character is lying in bed, and the drawer, and the bedpost and pillow behind the character are all messed up. You got flat and stale, and then you got like somewhat decent dimensions like on the drawer. Also the wallpaper, which is just completely one color, does not make it any better. And why didn't I add more shading to like the background things like the pillow and stuff? I mean, I did add some, but still not enough. Also, I remember like drawing, or at least thinking drawing. I remember writing a terrible edgy poem to go along with this somewhere. I'm not going to share it because it's stupid. Or that might have been a different piece. I'm not sure. My memory's kind of cloudy. I think I just maybe thought of the edgy poem, maybe did not write it down. Then again, my memory is complete garbage, like a memory of the goldfish. Also, one more thing before we move on. Nice failed attempt at colored line art. Next artwork. Oh my gosh, something that isn't completely crap and I still sort of like today. I really like the glowing parts of it. It adds a different atmosphere, and all in all, this piece really adds up to what I would make today. Sure, there are a lot of things I would do differently, but it still holds up pretty well. There's not much I can really critique it for without really nitpicking. I'm guessing I'm cutting myself a bit of slack here because guess what? I like this artwork, and because guess what? I got to get this video completely edited and finished by tomorrow. Yay! So, see you at 6 a.m. tomorrow. It's even 12 o'clock, so I'm gonna be very tired. I'm back, and I have coffee to absorb its power. And, well, all I can really say about this artwork is that the right leg is a bit too bent, the colors don't go together extremely well, the ears and the mouth are weirdly placed under the head, and that hand is atrocious. I remember drawing this in gym and people complimenting it. What were they thinking? I don't know. Next, artwork. Slapping my coffee cup a bit there. Better not spill it. And, well, the legs are way too short. The torso is also kind of short. The limbs are way too long. The arms will be reaching to her calves at that point. The ears are way too skinny and weird. And while the hair is kind of nice, I did make an okay attempt at trying to shade it. It does not fit onto the head well. And as I still am refusing to draw little segmented pieces on the teeth at that time of making that. Now, next artwork. I remember drawing this one at a family dinner. I don't know why, I just like doing that. I don't know, I guess I just get bored. But this one's actually pretty nice. It's one of those pieces that still kind of hold up today. There are some parts that look kind of weird, like the bow tie, and the arms look a little funky, but it's still pretty good. This is actually a pretty good attempt at having colored line art. And I didn't really have anything to put on the banner at the time, so I just put the words hello, which is it's okay, I guess. Anyway, next artwork. Also, my cat is in the room, so you might hear meowing. So say hello, Rama. No, don't get on my desk. Of course you don't meow when I ask you to. Anyway, next artwork. Here's a piece of artwork celebrating my 20th watch year on DeviantArt, and the text bubbles are kind of wonky. The ears are kind of way too long, but they are kind of positioned somewhat okay in the head. And the biggest part of this piece is that Scully has none of her markings or ribs or anything whatsoever, not even her bow tie. I don't know why. I think I was rushing to finish this piece before I got another watcher. But yeah, that's one of my biggest quarrels with the pieces. So next artwork. I drew this picture and I had no idea what to name this OC of mine. Because yeah, let's just tell the entire internet my problems with naming characters. And the piece is okay. It has another nice attempt at colored line art, but for some reason I didn't attempt it with any of the papers or the wall, which would have made it a lot more cohesive. Also, I decided to try and write stuff on the papers myself instead of using the text feature for some reason. Like, I used the text in the last thing, so I clearly knew of its existence, but for some reason I just didn't decide not to. And it makes it look kind of bad. Anyway, this piece is pretty okay. And so, yeah. Next artwork. I made this piece of artwork when I was upset because I had deleted almost all the pictures and artwork I had on my phone. Which, yes, I am that stupid, thank you very much. And I just wanted to pour all my emotions and negativity into one piece, which I did here. The only complaints I really have is that the hand is kind of large, and the blood is not unlike the scythe thing, not really scythe, it's more like a stick. And on her other arm is not moving like the rest of the blood, making it look like she's sort of just standing there, even though it should be affected and moving like the rest. But other than that, I still kind of like this piece. And once again, next artwork. And now, time for an edgy Valentine's Day picture. I don't like this piece because the way I drew Scully's face, it makes her look kind of puggish. And the ears are weirdly long, and once again, I still had that problem of not being able to connect them into the head in a way that looks decent. And with that, next artwork. Now this one's a piece of fan art I made for someone who had stopped tracing. The user is known as Blueberry Cheesecake. And while let's just say I hate this piece of artwork, what is going on with the left cheek? It looks like it's swelling, and the distance between the two fingers is kind of weird. And what is with the clothing wrinkles? It looks so odd. Why didn't I do it for any other part of the piece? And all in all, I just really dislike this piece. Maybe I should try and redrawing it sometime. Anyway, with that out of the way, next artwork. Here's another one of my old favorite artworks. I really love how I did the flowers, but one thing that really bugs me is the left cheek is also kind of extending out a bit further than it should in this picture. Well, if I really wanted to fix it, I guess I could use Liquify, but still, it is how it is. But it doesn't negate the fact that it's still one of my very favorites, even today. And with another short and sweet little critique out of the way, next artwork. Now here's when I finally made Scully's rough sheets, so any inconsistencies in her character is now unexcusable, but for some reason most of the time I just don't look at it at all. I really like how I added red into her design this time. It draws the viewer's eyes up to her face a lot more. But I do really hate how elongated her ears are because it makes her less like a cat and more like a bunny rabbit, which some people do confuse her with. So yeah, in this version of Scully, she looks less like part cat. Another interesting little tidbit about her design is that the big striped band on like the very top of her arm was actually a mistake, and it was supposed to be even unlike the rest, but was lazy and didn't go back and fix it in. And eventually when people started drawing fan art of Scully, they drew it sort of like how it is on the ref sheet, and eventually I just added it in officially. And one more thing I hate how skinny her tail is. In a later version she has a bit more thicker of a tail, so I solved that problem. Anyway, with this one out of the way, next artwork. Here's another picture of Kettle, and I have two major complaints. The right arm looks way too elongated, and the left arm looks way too small and thinner compared to the right arm, and I should be seeing the shoulder poking out from the forearm of the left. And I really hate how I did the text. It looks very thin and such, making it hard to read, especially from a distance. And I don't know why I didn't put a speech bubble around it. That would have made it a lot better. And a little nitpick I had is that I missed the colored line art I was giving Kettle in most of the drawings of her. And with that, next artwork. And guess what? We're barely even halfway there to the end of this video. Now here's a piece of picture I drew when I just wanted speed paints to upload onto my YouTube channel, and yeah, it looks like complete crap. I should have been favoring quality over quantity, really. So guess what? I'm not going to be wasting that much of a breath on this one, and we're just going to say it's bad and move on to the next one. So next artwork. Here's another old favorite one of mine. I really like how I managed to get the facial shape correct, which is something I was struggling a lot at the time, so I'm really surprised I managed to pull this one off. The only really complaint I have is sort of the wonky shading and the sort of messy line art. But other than that, it's really good for the standards back then. So, next artwork. Also, the mouth kind of annoys me a little bit. It's kind of weirdly put on there. Alright, lightning round, because I have over 40 pictures to go and I want to get this done by next decade. Why is there wrinkles in the shirt but not the pants and the lab coat? The boots look weird, the facial expression is bland, and I feel like the torso and the legs are way too short. The paws are a bit messed up, and so is the pattern on the legs, and the markings on the face are quite a bit lopsided. But it's pretty okay, and this was artwork from an art trade I did with someone who took down their half of the trade after a week. Which is not supposed to happen, and yes, I am salty about it still. This is artwork that is, while yes, is terrible, I can kind of excuse it, because this is when I first got my tablet, and I was testing it out, and because all the features were foreign to me, and it was very different from drawing on paper, and a lot different from drawing on my phone with my finger. Also, one thing I noticed in some of my pictures is that I flip-flop between giving Scully boobs and not giving Scully boobs. Make up your mind, past me. Once again, the ears are very long and weirdly placed onto the head. The tail is skinny, and the legs and the lower body are weirdly placed and posed, and it just looks wrong. The left leg is weird, the tail is very skinny, the snout is a bit too long, the ears are weird and kind of blobbish. I remember back then I also sometimes did not draw the inside of the ears for some reason. The snout looks terrible, there's no lines in the ears, making them just look like blobs once again. The hair is poorly drawn, the hands are sort of hit or miss. Sometimes I dislike them, sometimes I do like them. The outfit is very plain. I made this drawing back before I designed Leo, so it has no markings whatsoever, making him very uninteresting to look at. And what is the shading on his eyes as well? It looks so weird. I like this one. It doesn't have any big glaring issues and has like a nice clean look to it. The only problem I have is the hand, but hands are hard to draw, and it's decent. The legs are weirdly positioned, the hands aren't that good. Luckily the tail is thicker this time. I'm still having the issues with the ears. And the mouth feels like it should have more depth to it, and the speech bubble is wobbly and it irks me. Once again, the ears are too long and weirdly positioned. The mouth should have more depth to it, and the lines in the background should be straighter. Me and my friend made this when we were playing around in Passpal, and to be honest, it's the greatest thing ever. Like, it is just like the most epicest thing ever. Like, oh my gosh. Once again, the ears are weirdly placed and the mouth needs more depth to it. And that's it for the lightning round. Now this god-awful OC, I really hate it. Her color palette is too different, too many different colors. I should have just stick to the white, red, and blue, and orange, rather than getting all these things like the brown from the bag and the gray from the clothing, because it just really adds too much. Next, artwork. Also, the fact that I was getting sick did not help me creating that OC. Same issues with the ear and mouth again, only this time the background looks absolutely terrible. I don't know why I didn't use a gradient instead of trying to lay down the colors and use the blur tool, because guess what, the blur tool is crap. Also, the white outline just looks terrible. And so does the red liner. It works in some lighter areas, but not during the dark areas like around the eye sockets. And really, instead of drawing this piece of artwork, I should have been resting a bit because at the time I was sick. Anyway, next, artwork. Not much to complain here except the ears once again, and the line art color for the white parts is lighter than the shading color for some reason. And once again, next, artwork. Here's another piece of artwork I like. The only thing I really wish is that I did more with the shading, allowing you to see more parts of the character, and that the background didn't flush out the little fly she has on the string on her finger. And this is also when I started digitally painting backgrounds more, like you can see from the trees, which look kind of awful, especially when I copied and pasted them. And from the fact that there's way too many stars and the clouds and the moon look pure awful. And so, next, artwork. I'm getting tired. Hey, the placement in the ears isn't absolutely terrible. It actually looks good for once, and the line art color is correct. The only problem I have is that the left arm looks a bit too long, and the background doesn't really fit. Anyway, next, artwork. This one's actually pretty decent. The ears and the mouth are okay this time, except the right hand. It looks kind of weird and bent out of shape. And the background is pure awful and like just a smudgy mess. And the biggest thing about the piece is the awful shading. Especially on the bow tie and the left arm. And what is that moon? I don't know. And next, artwork. Almost done. Final stretch. Oh boy. Where do I even begin? The ear placement is complete garbage. Utter garbage. And the way the head and the neck supposedly connect is trash. It looks like it's connected all on one side. Where does Scully's knee end and hand begin? The technique I was trying to use to paint fur was not working in the slightest. It just looks garbage. The way the shorts are placed and the fact that there's no tail hole makes the jeans look like that she has no butt at all. It's all just one continuous shape. Also, what is Scully supposed to be standing on? Is it supposed to be a roof or a solid slab? I cannot tell, because this was before I knew the material list in Ibersoft Paint. It really would have made things a lot better if I would have just taken one of the images off that list and set it as overlay for that. Also, why are the buildings in the background so bright? And their shading is so smudged, which little I have. And why is Scully not casting a shadow on the roof? I don't know, but I'm going to talk about and complain about this piece forever if I don't move on now. So, next, artwork. I really like this picture, especially the kimono. I think the characters' colors are really nice and cohesive. For the most part, I mean, they could be a bit better, but they are really good. The only problem I have is the background. What is that weird grass and that ugly tree in the background? Why did I think I had any ability whatsoever to draw a background? I should never trust myself. Also, the image quality on DeviantArt of this picture is utter trash. I don't know why. In the original picture I saved, it was decent. So, I don't know what happened there. First time solely painting a digital background, and well, I mainly started this because I really wanted to get some practice in, for the future. And it's pretty okay. It got me some practice that I needed. I added little fairies in as an afterthought, and well, the waterfall is complete crap. I really do like the big little ruby-like gems in the front. Those are pretty well done. And little pillar stone to the side. That's actually pretty nice. Next, artwork. Okay, when I had finished drawing this character, I added in the background as an afterthought. Big mistake, because guess what? The trees look like turds, and the trees in the background look even better than the trees in just the regular background. It looks terrible. Freaking turd trees, man. Let's move on before I have an aneurysm. So, next, artwork. And once again, here's a piece of artwork that restores my faith in my artistic abilities. I really like how I did the pinstrip lake effect on the clothes and the shading I did for it. I do not like the hair, and that left foot is definitely bent out of socket. But other than that, it's really good. Next, artwork. Here's a digital painting of Leo, which I love, and it's awesome, but somehow got less attention than the previous picture of Leo. Yes, I am salty. Thank you. I really love the tufts of fur in his hair. I don't like his horns, mainly because I only remembered about their existence when I was almost finished with the piece, so I sort of added them in as an afterthought, which is never good. But I still really like this piece, and I'm pretty impressed with it. So, next, artwork. And we're almost done, folks. This piece of artwork is also pretty good. Although I don't really like that the legs of the little pumpkin do not match up the way it's facing. And the background is also pretty bad, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, we sped through this one. So, next, artwork. Here's a picture of the mayor's office in my little town, and it's pretty nice. I tried, with angles and stuff and drawing furniture, which I'm usually pretty garbage at, and it looks pretty nice. I really half did the shading mainly because I wanted to get this drawing done because I had it on the back burner for so long, which is never really good when it comes to drawings. So yeah, that definitely took away from any potential quality, but that stuff just happens sometimes. So, next, artwork. Almost done. I also like this drawing. I really like all the red tones to it, and the face is really detailed. I use references of actual cat skulls, and I really like the ears. They're no longer gaping black holes, and they're placed quite nicely on the head. And with that, next, artwork. Almost done. I also like this piece. I really like the colors. The hair is pretty nice. I could have done better on its shading and everything, but that's okay. The one thing I really dislike though is how Harlex's ears connect to her head. They just don't seem it just doesn't seem right. And moving on again, next, artwork. Gotta go fast with these reviews, am I right? I know I said I wasn't going to review free requests, but I just had to because I love this one so much. The shading is really nice, and I really love that I managed to give the character so much floof to it. So yeah, I'm really proud of this one. I have mixed feelings about this piece. I like the wallpaper, I like the tea, I like the fancy bow tie Scully is wearing, but I don't like the little dessert tray, I don't really like the table itself, and I don't really like the shadow behind Scully, so I just have mixed feelings on this piece. Next, artwork. I also really like this artwork. Scully has definitely a lot more fluff to her, and it did the fur in a way that does not look as terrible. And Scully looks very fancy fixing her bow tie like that. My only complaint is that her left arm looks kind of too long, but that's just a bit of a nitpick. So, next, artwork. Almost done! I swear I'm not lying this time. Now here's one of my favorite pieces of artwork I made this year. I really like the facial expression I drew for Civis, and Joe looks so done with shit. Honestly, I feel the same all the time. One complaint is that the door is crooked and the office looks kind of barren, but the office Joe and Civis works in anyway is barren, so... And I could have done the wood texture on the table a lot better, or just not done it at all. That would have been kind of a bit better in my opinion. But anyway, next, artwork. And yes, I keep telling you, I'm going to keep this joke up until the very end, no matter how annoying it gets. And here we have Scully's latest rough sheet. I kept most of her details the same, except I decided to add more red into her design, like on her paw. I was testing it out with a picture I showed you guys a little bit earlier, and I think it really looks good. I also shortened her ears a lot and thickened up her tail so you can tell she's, you know, a cat, kangaroo, cataroo. Yes, I know, dumb name. Moving on. Next, artwork. And guess what? Only 5 more artworks to go. Yay! I'm going to be honest here, I don't really like this one. I do like the brick texture in the background and the wood texture in the background. It looks pretty nice. But I don't like how I draw Helvetii herself. I should have definitely added a lot more highlights and maybe not have tried to use colored line art. But I was just so done with his pictures, I just gave up and finished it enough to post it. So with that depressing picture out of the way, next, artwork. Gonna keep this one short and sweet. This is a little art project I had where I had to draw a winter landscape and a little snow globe, and so I did. The circle isn't perfect. Scully is really cute. I like how she got her head stuck in a tree, but all in all, I really like this piece. I could have done better getting an even coloring, but you know, that's okay. So moving on. Next, artwork. Here's a wanted poster depicting how the villagers would demonize Scully all the time, even though Scully's just a cute little floofball who has trouble socializing. Try to semi-model it like one of those old atomically drawings with lots of ink and stuff, and I think I did, you know, pretty okay. It looks nice. I managed to find a nice brush for like cross-hatching and stuff like that, so it made things a lot easier, and it looks good. So next, artwork. So this piece right here is basically my second favorite, and let's start out with the things I love. Finally, I managed to get a good green background grass in the background. That's nice, that's really nice. And I really love the hair. I managed to find a way to like draw and shade it to make it look very nice. And I was pretty decent at drawing ruffles and hands, which is really nice and usually very rare. And one thing I don't like is Diane's facial expression. It just looks really blank. I mean, she was supposed to have holding a flower, but I forgot to add it in and I was lazy, so I didn't. So she sort of just has a blank expression now. And the sunset in the background isn't the best. It's okay. But yeah, that's basically all I really have for right now about that art. And final artwork review. Finally. Oh my gosh. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest thing I drew this decade. This drawing. I absolutely love this drawing. There's only 3 things I really dislike. I don't like the space in between the eyes. I don't like how I choose red for that one bottle cap to the side, which sort of draws your eyes towards it. And I don't like that I did not replicate the hair technique as good as I did in the piece before. But I do really love Bruce's sassy expression, and I had designed him on the spot with no prior drawings of him, and I did pretty good about it. I really love that I stuck with a mainly green color palette throughout the piece. And thankfully, this time, I finally learned how to use overlays and stuff like that, so I no longer have to individually draw each piece of wood. So it looks like there's a bunch more effort in the piece than I actually put in. Yay! And with that, I'm finally done. Yay! That took so much longer than I thought it would. Anyway, I'm planning on doing something like this next New Year's Eve as well, so stay tuned. And also, if you want, I can review artwork of mine from years prior. And I was also maybe thinking about reviewing other people's artwork in OCs and something like that in the future. Tell me what you think, and if you would like something like that. And goodbye, and see you next decade. Scully Roo, out!